Hey everybody, welcome to another ranking video. Today it's a little different than others I've done. I'm just going into one faction, a deep dive, well not a deep dive, but a full ranking of the whole faction. There's 30 Jedi characters. I'm going to go through them in alphabetical order, and it's kind of like a ranking closer to a Journey Guide ranking since so many of the Jedi are in the Journey Guide. And this is my favorite faction in the game, in Star Wars. That's why I fell in love with Star Wars as a kid, because of the Jedi. And I like the other stuff too, but you know, Jedi just always has a special place in my heart as a Star Wars fan. So looking forward to it, and let me know what you think about this ordering when the video is done. First off, we got Aayla Secura, and quite simply, she crits, she stuns, she counters, and she might call to assist. She's great in a Galactic Republic team, and she has the support tag, so she's actually more useful in Conquest if you have Zealous Ambition, which is great. She doesn't have a ship or anything, so she is lower mid C tier at best. There's not a ton lower than her in C tier, so she's kind of middle. But decent character, you know, you have to relic her up for JMK, and sometimes it's worth it. I used her sometimes in TB in the later missions when I didn't have enough Galactic Republic Jedi over a certain threshold, but I do enjoy using her with her stun. And next up, we got Ahsoka Tano. She comes to mid B tier, and it just goes to show how strong the Jedi are because she is kind of in the middle, and I think she's still a really strong character. Works great under JMK or Padme. I kind of like how she works under Padme more, honestly, because she's granting that protection up, turning to courage, and auto damage. But on JMK, she's pretty essential. She's helping him charge the ultimate so fast by constantly assisting, de-spelling on the basic all the time. Her special does extra damage if you have GK or JKA on her team. And it's just healing up, and sometimes I think it's recovering some protection, but I could be wrong about that. She's just very strong. She gets a lot of extra stats on her unique based on crit immunity. So she gains like 50 speed or something from that. So she's way better when she has crit immunity, which flows out of GK. Very strong character. Next up, we got Barriss. And Barriss is, you know, I think she's way worse than Ahsoka than this distance would seem. But I'm limited in the tier list. She's the consummate healer. She's great. She heals the team up, equalizes everything. On her basics, she's healing some. She's getting turn meter from her unique when others get critically hit. She used to make special counters work, like the 501st clones versus Slicker, but that doesn't really work anymore because they fixed the AI. She's decent, low B tier. Next up, we got Bastila, and I love Bastila as a character. She goes under Ahsoka because she's less flexible. She doesn't have a Galactic Republic or Jedi tag or anything like that. An Old Republic tag isn't worth much, but she's best under Jedi Knight Revan. However, I like her under Jedi Master Luke as well because she has the ability block on her basic. She works so well with Yoda, gives out tons of buffs, amazing early game leadership with all that protection and tenacity, and she has a dispel. So I use her in, sometimes I use her in territory battle in phase 1, just to get that cleanse with my JML team. And she gives passive bonuses to the whole team with battle meditation. It's kind of an underrated buff in my opinion because it's almost giving you near full counter chance, and it's giving you lots of potency. And pretty much everyone gets it except her, I think. But she does get extra stat boosts under Jedi Knight Revan, like accuracy, potency, tenacity, I believe. Very strong character, great early game lead. Next up, Eeth Koth. He's F tier. Not much to say about him. He's just not good. I can't bump him down much lower than F tier. And I'm not sure if I get the F tier Jedi correctly in order, but he's pretty bad. He doesn't merit more than that. Next, we got Ezra. Ezra, I think, does merit getting at least C tier. He's the only Phoenix character I have a relic that I didn't have to, like Hera for profundity. I like the thought of him because he's Jedi and Rebel, but in reality, I don't get much out of the Rebel tag with him. What I do like about him is his double hit on the basic. I don't have the Zeta on his first special, but with that, he does a lot more damage, gets a lot more turn meter. And his second special is actually pretty useful. I really like it under a JML team because when you're calling an assist on like a support character, they're both getting turn meter. You're getting plenty of hits. And then if you call him to assist with JML's special ability, he's going to hit twice, kind of like Cam. So he's decent. He got C tier. All right, and now we're going to start moving into the cream of the crop here. We got GK. High A tier. I'm gonna be honest, he bumps up because of the Negotiator. Since I'm considering ships, still a great capital ship. In my opinion, it is the third best capital ship still. And Empire kind of beats it easily, and Malevolence can counter it. But overall, for strength, I still would consider it the third best fleet. It was the meta for an insane amount of time, like 2 years or something. But he's nothing to sneer at in the land either. He's just a consummate tank. He goes with any team, but he works best with Galactic Republic and JMK. He's constantly handing out Foresight with his basic, crit immunity with his unique. He's taunting all the time. He's calling the whole team to assist. He's cleansing buffs and giving the reverse. Just a great character, very durable. I mean, he's got a simple kit, but it's just so effective. So he definitely merits high A tier in my opinion. Next up, we got General Skywalker. So General Kenobi's Padawan is higher than him. And Gas is the last non-Galactic Legend squad arena meta. And he is amazing. Even after the nerf, he's great with 501st clones. He's actually better with them now than he was, because he'll get up after only 5 turns of 501st, or he gets 20% protection recovery for each 501st turn taken. And he does so much stuff. I mean, attacking twice per turn is insane. Increasing cooldowns on crits is amazing. And he's doing that AoE daze and armor shred at the same time. Even if you're using him with like JML and you get a leadership ability used, he's going to use one of his specials. So it's just awesome. Reducing max health used to be an early staple of countering Galactic Legends, but it doesn't work against them anymore. But he's still an amazing character. And if the right Rey lineup is set, 501st can actually just beat Rey. I don't know if that still works with Ben. I think it could. I think it's a little bit less likely, but definitely S tier for him. And I think you can figure out why he's not top S tier. Next up, we got Grandmaster Yoda. It's hard to place him. He could have gone lower, possibly, but I do love him. He definitely goes higher A tier, but below GK, because he doesn't have as much use in like a meta team right now. But he does so much damage. He's a support, so he's amazing in Conquest if you have Zealous Ambition. The constant turns, he's amazing in Territory Battle. You're just cycling through. And PvP is great too. Works best under Jedi Knight Revan mostly, and Bastila. He's part of that. He's the like honorary member of an old Republic Jedi team. But Foresight constantly spreading is great. Tenacity up is pretty important. You know, like I like to spread only when I have extra buffs, but even if you don't, getting Foresight up, Foresight and Tenacity up to the whole team is still very strong. So he's high A tier. I might talk about him a little bit more when we see who else is around him. Next, we got his old counterpart, Hermit Yoda. And he's just B tier for me. He's top of the B tier because he's so flexible. He's so plug and play. He doesn't have to go with Jedi. He's a great raid companion because he's just boosting your strongest characters and he's not dealing damage to the boss to speed them up. So he's basically all about Grandmaster's training, healing, some turn meter on his basic, and Foresight. He's just a great support character. He goes with anything, just like I said. But I can't really justify putting him A tier. He's just pretty much solid top of B tier for me right now. Next, we got a lower ranked character, Ima-Gun, and he escapes F tier because he is very strong with Cam. He can do a lot of damage because he's support, but I don't think it's worth relicking him up right now. I don't have much to say about him. He can just deal some damage under Cam, and that's why he escapes obscurity here. And right next to him is Jedi Knight Consular, or not Jedi Knight, just Jedi Consular. He was kind of a staple early game character right when the game came out. I played for a few months right when the game came out, and he was like my hero for Galactic War. My only hope in Galactic War was if him and Luminara Unduli could heal the team up enough to keep going, because it was pretty hard back in those days. But he doesn't have much to go in for him except for his ship, and it's not even a good ship. The best thing about it is it's Galactic Republic tag, and it calls an assist. But that helps him at least escape obscurity in the F tier. Okay, next up, got another A tier character in Jedi Knight Anakin. I used low A tier because, he kind of went way down in stock, and then he went back up again when Qui-Gon got his Omicron. But he definitely merits A tier for me because of his ship in part. If it were just a land game, he probably wouldn't be A tier. But in GAC, he's definitely A tier because he's what allows that Qui-Gon team to just destroy an entire team after Qui-Gon goes down. For 3v3, he was kind of like part of the best. That Qui-Gon team's kind of like the best counter to the Super Dash Datacron, where he's taking bonus turns all the time because Anakin just wipes the whole team, and the battle lasts about 15 to 20 seconds. But you know, he has some underrated stuff. The AoE granting offense up and critical chance up, I think, is great. Healing immunity on the basic, very strong, and buff immunity. That kind of screws up a lot of things if you're going against it. Like in Conquest, I was trying to solo with the Sith Eternal Jedi team, and they had Anakin, and I almost lost because of the healing immunity. I just wasn't healing up, and I got to low health. It still worked out, but just a great character, dealing double damage when a Galactic Republic ally falls below 50% health is just super strong. It goes well under Padme, granting that protection up. But his ship is just the key factor in the Negotiator fleet. He's just what makes that whole fleet run. Next up, we got Jedi Knight Guardian. And she is higher in the F tier because she's got a tank tag and you can do some weird stuff under JMK. But she's not really valuable on her own. It's just kind of like a meme thing where she gets a little bit of a boost because she has some meme ability. Next up, Jedi Knight Luke, and he is S tier, right next to his father. Super strong character. You know, I kind of laughed when he came out. Some people were putting on their tinfoil hat and theorizing that he was meant to, his kit was what Mace's kit was supposed to be, a Mace rework, that he stole it, and that he wasn't the real Jedi Knight Luke. And I thought that was, of course, ridiculous. He's super strong. Irresistible AoE days, reducing health and protection is incredible. His leadership is great, not only for territory battle, and it is amazing there, it's the best. It's great for assault battle. And if PvP, if you have a fast enough character, it's great there too. I don't make him super slow just for PvP because a lot of times he's a supporting cast member. He's not the leader all the time, but he does tons of damage. He's gaining max protection every time he does a basic. He's dispelling on his basic. He's doing extra damage to tanks, which is where you need it. He's got an incredible buff he gives out. It increases speed. It's like speed up, half offense up, like offense up. It's got so many things. Counter chance. He's just amazing. Inflicts blind, although he gets blinded all the time if you take Mara Jade against him, which is kind of funny. I did that one GAC and I didn't even think about it. But he's just amazing to me. Lower S tier than Gas. I think Gas has a little more flexible use and is better on defense. Jedi Knight Luke is kind of a sitting duck if you're not fast enough on defense for like Imperial Troopers or something. Still amazing, amazing character. And then Jedi Knight Revan, high A tier for me, the top of A tier. I could see someone trying to argue that he goes lower, but I still think he's just as valuable as ever. His leadership is incredible. He's still pretty much the only character that can, at will, mark specifically one character you want to go after, call everyone to assist, stun, and increase his cooldowns. That's amazing. Turn meter swap, that's also an AoE, and a cleanse is amazing. The weakest thing about him to me is like his basic, but his leadership is so strong, especially with that ability where you're just calling back and forth. You're calling Yoda back and forth all the time. And Savior mechanic is just awesome. It even works in a lineup where he's not the leader, although it basically works best on offense because if he's the one that goes down, it doesn't work. So if you put him on defense, it definitely just not a good idea. But S tier for me, he kind of changed the game. When Jedi Knight Revan came in, it changed the whole phase of the game, made it more complicated and complex, which I personally enjoy. But that's why we have books as kits. It's because Jedi Knight Revan just upped the bar all by himself. And now that we're up to characters that have Jedi in their name, I think you can see what's coming. Jedi Master Kenobi, and I made him larger to distinguish him as a galactic legend. He is like super S tier in this list. Since he's the best galactic legend, he's kind of by default the best character in the game. Though he does need his team with him. He's not like the solo mastermind. He just is kind of the maestro, the conductor of that Galactic Republic team. So many things to say about him. I'm not going to go super into depth because it would take too long. But you know what he does. Instantly getting an instant kill with Cat on his team, resetting cooldowns, protection up, no turn meter reduction, amazing ultimate, constantly assisting with that. He can solo the Sith raid, just so much stuff going on with him. And I just put out a video about Galactic Legends if you want to hear more about him. Next up, we got the next Galactic Legend, Jedi Master Luke, and he's amazing. He's not as good as JMK, but I love him. I love his assist ability based on his protection. I love that he's the only Galactic Legend tank. That makes it super useful for me. Amazing in Conquest. I love the AoE ability block with Breach. Love the cooldown increase. And I love when he's in his ultimate, he can basically just do specials because his cooldowns are reduced. Really juices up a whole Jedi team to an incredible degree. Next up, we got Jolee Bindo, and I love Jolee Bindo. He's not as much of a threat as he used to be. Back in the Giant Revan meta, he was just a menace, but he's very thick, hard to take down if you don't have a lot of damage on your team, which, I mean, there's a lot to go around now, but reviving every single Jedi is kind of a broken ability if you leave him alive. I use him in TB a lot now, and I use him in PvP as well, but he does, usually if I'm winning, I'm not having to revive everybody. But he's great for JML countering JMK in Grand Arena or something, because you have that safety net, you can just bring people back, even if Cat annihilates them. But yeah, he is high B tier for me, not ahead of Hermit Yoda because it's not as flexible. But he's got tons of crit avoidance, tenacity, calls assists, and heals up his team tons, not just revives. Next up, we got Juhani, and she bumps up into the C tier because of her Omicron. And that's basically just for territory wars, but she makes a Starkiller run. Other than that, she's a terrible character. So she's kind of a one-hit wonder, or one-game mode wonder. But since she does have the Old Republic tag and Jedi tag, she can speed up Giant Revan a little bit and just kind of be a placeholder tank. Next up, we got Kanan Jarrus, and he's top of D tier. He's a pilot. He's got good tags, got Jedi tag and tank tag, along with Phoenix. I don't think he's terrible. He's got a cleanse for the Phoenix team. And I don't know how durable he is. I don't plan on relicking him unless I am forced to. But it's mainly because of his ship that he escapes obscurity here and gets to the top of the D tier. Next up, we got Cam. He is A tier. He's kind of mid A tier and just super strong. He's like a passive leader on a Galactic Republic Jedi team. He makes that Qui-Gon team run with Anakin. A huge damage. He can do 200k on his special like it's nothing. Flicks armor shred, multiple attacks. Amazing in TB because of that when he's taking out battle droids, but I don't know how that'll translate to the new TB. They'll probably take a hit, and all Galactic Republic will take a hit in their viability with that. But he is super strong. Maybe he could have gone above Yoda, I don't know. I still prefer Yoda because Yoda, you're more in control, and Cam is kind of an idiot on defense because he goes into his taunting stance, which he pretty much shouldn't. Next up, we got a crap character. We got Kid Fisto. Put him at the very bottom. I don't know if he's the very bottom or if it's Eeth Koth, but he's not good. I wish he was kind of good. He looks kind of cool, but he's not. Nothing much to say about him. Next, we got Katarn. He's bottom of the B tier. I mean, he is strong. He's a decent character, but that Mon Mothma team is kind of limited in the late game. Although he's very strong early game, that extra turn meter is getting that team going, especially if you have the right lineup with the turn meter train. But I mean, he's decent. You could run him under Jedi Master Luke if you just need a Jedi and you're not going to use your Rebel fighters or something. And he's got a ship. It's a pretty strong ship, but it works with a fleet that doesn't really have much viability right now. So that's why I can't really justify much higher than low B tier. Okay, now we're coming down to the wire on the Jedi faction, and next up we got Luminara. She's bottom of the C tier. She gets bumped up just because she has an Omicron, and it is for GAC. I went against it, but I went against a team that had 5 Omicrons on it. I still don't know exactly what it does, but it's basically a lot of boosts based on the healing over time, which is kind of her signature thing. She grants healing over time to the whole team, and she keeps the team healed, but aside from like 2015, early 2016, she's not very good, not very viable otherwise. Next up, we got Mace Windu, and he is mid A tier, and he's actually above Cam. I think, I want to hear people's thoughts on this, but I think he deserves that. His ship sucks, it's not really used, but he is amazing after his rework. He does so much stuff He's basically like a legendary. After his rework, Shatterpoint, being able to target people without stealth. My favorite thing is swapping turn meter with another Galactic Republic Jedi, or just Galactic Republic character, I guess. And, you know, reducing the max health and defense of characters when he hits them with Shatterpoint. He gives himself tons of turn meter. He gets tons of bonus stats like extra health, extra offense. Against 30% max health from one of his uniques, 30% offense from another. He's got a great territory war Ima-Gun. I don't have it, so I can't speak too much towards it, but he really elevates a JMK in those situations. He's just super useful. He's very flexible. He's very fun to use. Definitely worth getting up to higher relics. I have him at 6. I kind of want him higher, but he's been at 6 for a long time. It's very strong. I think he merits getting a little bit of a boost over Cam, because I'd rather have him in a team than Cam sometimes. He's more flexible because he works with other Galactic Republic that aren't Jedi. Next up, we got Old Ben. And Old Ben comes at the bottom of the B tier, just under Barriss. Because, you know, I mean, he does have great viability, but I think Barriss makes a lot of other stuff work. Like, she works well with Starkiller, so that can give her a little bit of a boost. And Old Ben, my favorite thing about him is AoE turn meter reduction and ability block. He's got an irresistible basic, but who cares, because it does like nothing. He has a taunt. He helps his team by dying. Otherwise, I mainly use him as a warm Jedi body to go into the JML. Next up, we got Plo Koon, and he gets this high because of his ship, pretty much. Like, he himself is not useful as a character. He does have the tank tag, and he does give turn meter up. So if you have him high relics, you can get some good use out of him there. But a lot of Galactic Republic teams are kind of like just shunning turn meter gain, like Padme and JMK. You can't really do that. I don't think with Padme anyway. But he's decent, high C tier for him because his ship with its cleanse and turn meter is amazing. And next we got Qui-Gon Jinn. This is actually my favorite Jedi from the movies, probably because Liam Neeson, but I just love the character too. He's low A tier, and that's just because clearly his GAC Omicron, he's below the rest of his teammates, and he makes the team work. I put him over Hermit Yoda because I think he is more valuable in GAC, which I think is by far the best game mode or most important game mode. And I just love what they did with him, just juicing up his team so much. You just want a lot of offense on him. I mean, there's also the option to go with the speed build for him, but it makes Anakin do an ungodly amount of damage. Same with Cam, and just wipe out a whole team when he goes down. And last but not least, we got Shaak Ti. And Shaak Ti is higher B tier for me. She's kind of like a wanderer right now. She doesn't go with 501st clones because they stay with gas most of the time. On 3v3 she does. She can go with Bad Batch pretty well, but I still think it's best to have Omega as a 5th. But she does a ton of stuff with clones. Retribution, she speeds them up, she's got great leadership. All of her abilities do extra stuff for clones, like the cleanse ability calls them all to assist. But that ability is incredible anyway, even in a Jedi lineup, because cleansing everyone is always valuable. And then she gives special buffs out, like stealth and critical chance up, or speed up to a support, and crit immunity to a tank. And calling to assist and healing is great as well. Kind of my favorite thing about her, though, is her basic. I like to use her under JML. So when I'm calling assists, I'm usually calling her because she's dispelling on it, and she's also creating offense up to the whole team, which is very strong. And she could work with a lot of teams, Galactic Republic, normal Jedi, clones, very flexible. But I still put her under Jolee and Hermit Yoda. Some people might not like that, but I still prefer these guys on a team. If I can only have one, other Shaak Ti over Shaak Ti, just because it's safer. But she's very fast too, so she can make a giant Luke team, be the first out, and she actually helps some weird counters like Imperial Troopers versus Lord Vader in some circumstances because she does cleanse anybody. But great character. So let me know what you think. Let me know what other factions you want to see ranked top to bottom in a tier list like this. I have a lot of fun doing it. That's it for me. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time.